Welcome back to Athletic Everyday, day number 334. Upper body focus session here. Wanted to do some push press because I haven't done push press in a little while. Seen as the goal this year is 140 on the clean and jerk. I'm going to have to increase my pressing strength, my overhead press strength, my straight press strength, as well as my push press, because I think that's going to be the limiting factor. It's not about how much you can clean. If you're going for a clean and jerk, it's about what you can jerk overhead. And I know for a fact that my form of my jerk and just my overhead strength in general is pretty atrocious. So what better way to improve that by incorporating some push press into my programming? What I found is that when the weight gets heavier on push press, when I work up to sort of my heaviest working set weight, I tend to have a little bit of a shoulder shift. I obviously am a bit strong on my right shoulder, and my left shoulder is, a little bit weaker, obviously. But for some reason, the weight shift, I have a little like a shoulder shift. Maybe there's an imbalance or an impingement there somewhere, but it always feels like I want to shift my weight onto the right side, which would make sense because I've got a stronger right shoulder. But you don't really see it until the weight gets a little bit too heavy. But this is actually the perfect angle to see it from, and this is the reason I'm talking about it. So when I built up to my top set, which was 80 kilo for triples, you can see my shoulder shifting. I'm not sure how concerned to be about it. I think there's naturally going to be some kind of compensation when you get to heavier weights. Assuming it's a high enough percentage of your 1RM, you're never going to have absolutely perfect form. But I feel like this could potentially become an issue, as I've also had pain in that left shoulder before, especially when I do higher volume weightlifting movements. So potentially there could be some rehab or prehab work to address that. Could be potentially a rotator cuff issue. I know for a fact that I don't do enough horizontal pulling exercises, and I know that is going to work the mid and upper back, mid and upper traps, which can play a large role in stabilizing the scapula. But, I'm not a physiotherapist. I'm not going to self-diagnose. If it becomes an issue, then I'll solve it. But for the time being, it's not causing any serious problems. And, it's a decently high percentage of my push press 1RM, which at the moment, in the past, it's been 100 kilos for the push press. And currently, I probably would struggle to even get like 95 or even 90 for a single. It depends on how much you can, with push press, you can decide how much you want to put in with your legs and how much you want to put in with your upper body. Generally, you want to be getting as much upper body involvement as possible. The push with the legs is really just to put a bit of momentum into the bar, and then the rest is just to, get the rest of that range of motion with the shoulders. So as I was saying earlier, you can see a little shoulder shift happening here. When I get to that sticking point, when I have to start taking over with my upper body, getting that tension into my shoulders, my upper back, my traps, my rotator cuffs, you can see that little compensation, that shift there. It's very, very minor, but I notice it when I do it, and I'm looking straight on in the mirror as well. So that might be something that goes away with just decently increasing the volume on push press, or maybe something I'll have to address with form adjustment, foam rolling, stretching, physiotherapy, who knows what. But we'll see how that goes. Rest of the exercises today was just horizontal pulling. I really enjoy this type of seal row. The head supported seal row when you lean forward is quite nice because you can get a little bit of neck engagement. So you're having a little bit of anterior chain stability down the front side. And then you can sort of really reach forward with the dumbbells in the bottom position, and then really pull the elbows back as far as possible to get a good amount of lat, mid-back, upper back engagement. I don't know why I haven't done rows in my programming that much as of late. More been focusing on just building up my weighted pull-ups. But, it makes sense to improve your horizontal pulling strength just as much as your vertical pulling strength. In the same way as, horizontal pressing and vertical pressing, it makes sense to not be excessively overpowered in one of them and then incredibly weak in the other one. You want to have a nice balance of pushing and pulling strength, both horizontally and vertically. So, for that reason, it makes sense to increase, or at least put the bare minimum volume of some kind of horizontal pulling exercise in there. Some people would argue that you get, decent amount of horizontal pulling motion when you do a hyper arched style of pull-up, where you're really arching your back and trying to sort of pull the bottom of your rib cage towards the bar. But, that's not the style of pull-ups that I do. I'm not really a fan of that style of pull-ups. Yeah, you do get a little bit more spinal erector engagement. You'll use a lot more mid and upper back. You generally use more back, but you won't be able to pull as much weight doing that either. So it's not really good for building strength in the upper body as a more sort of hybrid style of pull-up. So not hollow body, not hyper arching the back, but some combination where you can maybe arch slightly in the bottom and then you can sort of hollow body up in the top. I find that that generally tends to give you the best of both worlds with the pressing, with the pull-up, sorry. Then on the last set, I decided here that I would just do an AMRAP, as many reps as possible with 60 kilos. So strip the bar down to 60 and just see how many I could get before either the form gave out or I wasn't able to get another rep in. I think that was probably my limit, which was what looked like 8 reps, if I'm not mistaken. And then I figured I would do a little bit of isolation for the biceps. I really like incline dumbbell curls. I can really feel the stretch on the bicep in the bottom. And I also like that it has like an optimal length tension relationship for the bicep. You know, there's all kinds of fantastic bicep exercises. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm not trying to have like 24-inch arms. But, you know, there's probably some benefit to doing a little bit of isolated arm training for upper body movements, such as the clean, such as the jerk. You know, grip strength is also a factor. All of these things, you know, I'm not going to be doing tons and tons of volume of isolation training, but, you know, there's some benefit to it, if not just aesthetically. Maybe that's just me shamelessly saying doing it for aesthetics. But yeah, so that is more or less today's session. Finished up with some overhead tricep extensions, the little arm superset here. But that is pretty much it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.